welcome to your moment of joy. In this week's Torah reading, Joseph finds himself in the dungeon of the Egyptian palace. Alongside him are two of King Paro's most trusted servants. Now, one day Joseph notices that one of them is extremely depressed, and he goes over to him and asks him, "Why are you so depressed?" Let me just ask you, what is he supposed to be feeling? I mean, he's in a dungeon, right? So what actually happens is Joseph has the sensitivity to notice that he's even more depressed than usual. And the servant explains to Joseph that he had a dream and he didn't know how to interpret it. Joseph goes ahead and interprets the dream and tells the servant that he's eventually going to be freed. Sometime later, the king also has a dream. And this servant says, "I know that there's a slave in the dungeon who can interpret dreams." And that was Joseph. So they bring Joseph out of the prison, and eventually this begins his meteoric rise to power. He becomes second in charge in all of Egypt. And what we have to know for ourselves is that this all started from a little act, a small little act that he noticed that someone was upset. There's a famous story. It's written by John Schlatter and published in Chicken Soup for the Soul, of a boy who's walking home with all of his books and he trips. Someone takes the time to help him pick up his books, and he walks home with him and they begin a friendship. Years later, the boy told that story over and said that he was going home to commit suicide, and that's why he had all his books with him. But when he realized that someone was there to help him, he said, "Hey, I just met a new friend. I might have missed out on this opportunity to have a good time, and I'll also be missing out on other opportunities to also have a good time if I would have committed suicide." But what do both of these stories have in common? A small little act. It's sometimes we think that we always have to do big things in order to be noticed. But in order to make a huge difference, sometimes it only starts with a small act, and then the effects will ripple out from there. That's a great lesson we can learn from this week, and we should all try to take on some small thing that will hopefully one day have great effects. Have a great week.